What types of things would you recommend a parent, do? And then how do we approach that with our child so that they take it on saying, okay, this isn't just all this stuff lumping on top of me. My parent wants me to be successful. How do we transfer to them that this is helpful information I'm giving you and that we're working on? It isn't just something that these are the rules of the road and this is what you have to do when a friend comes over. Because I think my kids would often misinterpret, this is mom's thing versus what I really need to know.
Right. It's so tricky. So I love to be able to have frank conversations with kids who are older, who are just a little bit older, I can say, I know you really like him. I know you really want to hang out with him. And so yeah. I want it to go well. So, and I think that you want it to go well too. So what can we do? How can we make that possible? What are there certain things that we can do? Are there certain games that that he likes to play? Are there things that he, what are things you can talk about? Even thinking about topics of conversation that you can talk about. Maybe they both love Pokemon. So let's bring out some Pokemon cards and we can sort them and we can look at them and we can, talk all about, let's go Pokemon or, the Pokemon movie. Let's talk about Detective Pikachu, which I enjoyed. So, it's all these different things that you can have conversations about, but having the talk with your child beforehand. So it's not, I'm telling you that you need to do this because it's the rule and I'm mom. It's more like, I want you to enjoy your time with him. So how can we make sure that you enjoy your time with him?
Right. And that's highlighting too, when we are with someone else, it's not about us that we need to focus on. And so when we show our kids, okay, when you start pulling out those questions, you're almost prompting them to think about that child instead of themselves. And so in essence, you're preparing them to start thinking about what the other child is thinking instead of, well, how am I enjoying this time and what am I getting out of it?
Right. Absolutely. And it's all about taking somebody else's perspective, which is really challenging to do. It is very challenging to do. It's very challenging to try and teach a child to do that. But a playdate is a natural way where you can do that, where by having those conversations, what do you think your friend's going to like to play with? What do you, even with your sibling, what do you think your sibling wants to have for dinner? What do you think your sibling wants to play? You start to have those conversations and it can start helping kids think of the other instead of themselves. And it's natural, it's human. But in order to relate to other people, you got to think about them.
Exactly. And so it gives them, in those play date situations, they're in those for a short period of time where they're focused on that relationship, and then they can kind of draw back too, especially for those kids that are introverts, and that just drains them. If you got a half an hour to an hour, and I know my son would just say, I just need to be alone now. So it's very important.
Yeah, and to honor the introverts of the world, that it is exhausting to be around other people. It can feel great, but it is so tiring. And then to recognize you're going to need a little, probably the same amount of time by yourself to sort of recover after that.
Well, and that's a good coping skill too, to teach them, because, as they get older, they need to start segmenting their time themselves. And so if you continually tell them, to refresh after being with people, this is just something that you do. And it works well for you, because look at how much better you feel after you've had that time. And so I know with my kids, it's been the same thing. It's, you just, you speak out what they need to learn to implement themselves. And eventually they start speaking it out themselves. It's just a copy mechanism, but they don't know that. They're like, yeah, I just need this.
Right. And then it becomes internal. So then you can help them come up with a plan, but the whole goal is for them to come up with their own plan. That's my favorite is when my clients say to me, I had a client say to me a couple of years ago, I thought of what you would say. And I thought of, you would say, what's your plan? And she said, and then I said, I'm going to make a plan. And she made a plan for herself. And I said, that's exactly what I wanted you to do. You got it? Perfect.
Yep. Exactly. You become that life coach in your head.
Yeah.